how long have you thought this person is not a good fit for the company? And he said 1 year. Now think about that for a second. How would you measure that person's leadership if they knew someone wasn't a good fit for the company for over a year and it had not been addressed yet? You're probably thinking the same thing I am. It's not really good leadership. It's not strong. It's not effective. It's not intentional. It's not strategic. It's being afraid. It's living in fear. It's not addressing what you know you need to. Here's what I know behind that there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to have the conversations, even when they know someone's not in alignment, someone's not, values are not, together with the company and the culture of the company, or that maybe their work isn't really up to performance level expectations, but they aren't willing to have the conversation. They let it fester, they let it sit, they avoid it.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, I want to talk about tough conversations, but specifically about the courage to have a tough conversation when you need to. I just came back from a conference. I'm an EO member, and it was the EO Nerve, and I gave away 300 copies of our book, How to Have Tough Conversations. If you're looking at the video, you can see me holding up the book. You see the neon sign behind my head. One of my discussion points in talking with dozens and dozens and dozens of CEOs that are growing their businesses and scaling is there a tough conversation that you know you need to have, but you're avoiding it? I love that question because if people are really honest, they'll say yes. And it was mostly business. There were a few people that came back and said, there's a personal conversation with my wife or my spouse or with my child that I'm avoiding. I'm not sure how to hit it or how to address it. And so I bring it up in today's topic because it's very important to have the courage to have these tough conversations. There's also important to know how to have them. That's what the book's for. But let's just talk about courage today. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. We do leadership development. Our company is Core Elevation. We really help companies create leadership at all levels of the company. I claim that CEO coaching is very important, but if that's all you have in your organization and that's all the investments that you've made, you're pulling everyone along. And there's two other areas that I want you to really think about. Are your leadership team members aligned together? Your C-suite or whoever it may be, are they truly aligned? Are we optimized? Because if that's not there, then you want to make sure you get that right. And that's one of the things we help people with. The other one is manager development, which is getting the leadership skills and the confidence of leadership in the hands of your managers so that you can empower them and hold them accountable as the business continues to grow in a predictable way. So if you are curious about any of the work that we do there, make sure you reach out to me, gene@genehammett.com. That's my email. It's the simplest, easiest way for us to connect. I got free tools and resources, but I really love to help you become the leader that your people want to follow, but also create leadership at all levels of the company. It's not crazy expensive to be able to do this. We have some incredible track record of this, and I'd love to help you and support you. All that being said, today we're going to talk about the courage to have tough conversations. Going back to the question I opened up today's conversation with, I just want to reframe that. I would ask, dozens of people, is there a tough conversation that you're avoiding that you know you need to have? And everyone had something to say. Everyone had a person in their life, a person on their team, maybe it was at home, that they are avoiding that tough conversation. I remember one gentleman at the conference at the EO Nerve was very honest with me. I really appreciate his honesty. I won't say who it was, but I said, is this tough conversation with someone at work or another area of life? And he goes, it's at work. And my next question was, well, what's the issue? And he said, well, I just don't think they're working out. And I'm smiling when I say this, but I've asked so many people this question. I'm not surprised anymore. And I even put a story in the book that's very similar to this, but this is just perfect. And maybe you can resonate with this. But I said, how long have you thought this person is not a good fit for the company? And he said 1 year. Now think about that for a second. How would you measure that person's leadership if they knew someone wasn't a good fit for the company for over a year and it had not been addressed yet? You're probably thinking the same thing I am. It's not really good leadership. It's not strong. It's not effective. It's not intentional. It's not strategic. It's being afraid. It's being living in fear. It's not addressing what you know you need to. Here's what I know behind that, that there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to have the conversations, even when they know someone's not in alignment, someone's not, values are not, together with the company and the culture of the company, or that maybe their work isn't really up to performance level expectations, but they aren't willing to have the conversation. They let it fester, they let it sit, they avoid it. And I just want to make sure that you understand that this isn't a great leadership strategy. In fact, it's a very poor strategy to just hope it gets better. In my opinion, great leaders are willing to scan throughout their team. And you can even do this now. You can write down the top 5 people that you engage with, or 7 people, whatever it may be, that you have a relationship with, and just write down, what's the missing conversation I haven't had yet with that person. I'm not asking you to have the conversation. Maybe it's minor, but even the minor things we should be able to address. I remember one example of this happened before I wrote the book. I had a CEO, and he said one of his team members creates the internal PowerPoints for the business and sometimes external. And it's like, okay, what about that person? He's like, well, they've been doing this for a few years, and their spelling and grammar is not appropriate. They don't get everything right. And I was like, okay, so well, what happened when you had the conversation? And the CEO of a $20 million company said, well, I've just never had that conversation. I just fix it. So he always has to schedule time to fix the presentations. It probably doesn't take much time, but when does that person that's got a grammar or spelling problem learn to grow and address it for themselves? What else are they missing? Are they sending out emails that are sloppy? Probably. And you want to make sure that you are a courageous leader and that you can identify these things. And this is not that difficult of a conversation. It's very clear when things are misspelled. It's very clear when you get the little squiggly line from Grammarly or whatever it is, your AI tools. Even with AI now, you should not have misspelling and grammars, because they can rewrite everything that's written if you want to take the time to make sure it's right. I can even give you suggestions. I'm not going to get into the AI tools of this, but I think you know where I'm going with this. We should be scanning through our team members, the people we have a relationship with, and answer that question, what's the missing conversation that hasn't happened yet? And then when we do that enough and we're really clear about what that is, we just watch for it. We watch for signals, we watch for feedback. You may have someone that's late to meetings, or they're not prepared to meetings, or they disrespect someone else. There's definitely different levels of this, but you want to be able to identify them, small or big, and you want to be able to go, all right, this week I'm going to prepare myself to have a conversation with them about whatever it is. And my hope is that you get in a rhythm of doing that you have the courage to address these issues, and that you do this effectively. Now, if you want to learn how to do it effectively, go out and get the book, How to Have Tough Conversations. If you're not sure, if that's the right tool for you, go get another book. That's fine. But don't let these things sit. Don't let them fester. Be a courageous leader. Have the tough conversations that you need to have. My name is Gene Hammett. I love helping leaders evolve and grow and really create predictable growth in their company. I really am obsessed with this, and that's what I do for my job, and our team aligns this with tools. This book is just part of that solution. So if there's anything we can do to help you, if there's any, just a conversation you want to have to talk about your business, create a plan, and then you go execute on it, that would be wonderful. I'd love to get to know you. So if you're listening to this and you're curious about, maybe it's your next tough conversation, you just want to get really clear about it because you're not quite sure, you don't even want to buy the book, you just want to have a conversation with the author, reach out to me, gene@genehammett.com, and let's have a quick conversation around it. I'm willing to give to you guys if you're listening right now. You may think, I'm not going to bother him. I make about 2 or 3 hours a week for these conversations so that I can give back to the community and I can help you, because I feel like that's allows me to serve. Maybe you'll get some value out of it. I know you will if you really lean into it and do the work. But you'll tell others about the book, and that will help us, our mission. That's the reason why I do it. So if I can help you in any way, make sure you reach out to me, gene@genehammett.com. And this is about having the tough conversations and the courage to really address these things early and often. When you think of growth, and you think of growth you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.